Well, that didn't take very long. Zohran Mamdani is now a high-profile Democrat who clearly got his marching orders from his party's powers that be. They're wanting to make the most of their new Marxist poster child's newfound popularity, so now he's pushing their propaganda while he makes his post-victory media rounds.
You said that President Trump was watching you last night. It appears that he was watching you. And it also appears that he and other Republicans are trying to make you the poster boy of the Democratic Party. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, calls you a true extremist and a Marxist. And he says now every House Democrat incumbent and candidate will co-own Mamdani's disastrous record in the 2026 midterms. How do you respond to that?
Well, I'm looking forward to showing the power of an example here in New York City, an example of what it means to not just diagnose the despair in working people's lives as the cost of living crisis, but to deliver on it. And that's the contrast between myself and President Trump. He's someone who ran an entire presidential campaign on the promise of cheaper groceries and is now, as the president, making it harder for Americans to afford those groceries by cutting SNAP benefits.
Marxist, socialist, whatever. Good luck, New York. You open the door, open the can of worms. The FAFO, you're about to FO. Find out. And Mamdani is already making threats to ICE agents. The mayor-elect has made it very clear on several occasions that illegal migrants are going to be very, very welcome in the Big Apple, the big rotten apple, and that the needs of those illegals supersedes the needs of its own citizens, just like the rest of his party. Watch.
My message to ICE agents and to everyone across this city is that everyone will be held to the same standard of the law. If you violate the law, you must be held accountable. And there is sadly a sense that is growing across this country that certain people are allowed to violate that law, whether they be the president or whether they be the agents themselves. And what New Yorkers are looking for is an era of consistency, an era of clarity, an era of conviction. And that is what we will deliver to them.
There are not enough makers for all the takers you're bringing into that godforsaken city. Unbelievable. And let's not even get into the Sharia law part of this. Will he creep into Sharia law? I don't know. Dershowitz says no. I say probably. Far left of the Democrat Party is already taking it over. They've become louder and more confident, and they've made it very clear to their party that they're in charge. They're in charge, and they've just got started. Just watch how Bernie Sanders, who appeared for a Chuck Schumer press briefing, takes it over as they wait for Chucky to arrive.
Am I invited to the podium?
I mean, yeah.
That's a good sign. I agree with it.
What are your takeaways from last
My takeaways is there are many reasons why people win an election and lose an election. What happens in Virginia or New Jersey and New York City is a bit different. But I think there was a common theme last night, and that is people all over this country are rejecting Trumpism. They understand that it is a horrific situation.
You moron, Bernie Sanders. You moron. So vote in someone just because he's not Donald Trump. Would you vote in Hitler? Would you, Bernie Sanders? Would you? Because he's not Trump or a Hitler lookalike, act alike, policy alike. Would you? You nut job. What's wrong with you people? Good luck. Let them in. They're going to take over. You'll see. When Chuck Schumer finally appeared at his own briefing, he did exactly what he said he would do to take a victory lap and position the wins in New York, New Jersey, Virginia, and California as a message to the president. Again, it's all about Trump, not about your constituents, just about Trump. Except there's one little glitch in that propaganda. These are blue states that were never expected to turn red in the first place.
As loudly and clearly as could possibly done, from one end of the country to the other, the American people said enough is enough. The American people said enough with Republicans' relentless attacks on health care. And they also said enough with the cruelty, the corruption, the chaos that define MAGA radicalism. When they see that Trump doesn't want to help them with health care, or paying for food for needy people, but sending $20 billion to Argentina and saying his most important thing he can do is tear down the wall in the White House.
So what the Democrat Party was in such a slide. The brand was destroyed. It was garbage. No one wanted to be a Democrat. So they pick up this leftist, radical leftist, Marxist, socialist wave. Don't call it a blue wave. Call it a communist wave in the country. And this is what they're going to ride on. This is what they want. Democrat Congresswoman Chrissy Houlihan, just about as brash and disrespectful as the rest of her party, get this, interrupting Speaker Johnson's, his press conference. No one interrupted Chucky Schumer, but she interrupted Speaker Johnson's press conference, shouting over him. This party's become a bunch of classless clowns.
For Mr. Jeffries or Mr. Schumer, I am part of the American people, and I believe that. Respect free speech. And you should respect free speech. I'm asking you a question. If you're ready to have a conversation with the other side, you represent all of us. You are the speaker for all of us, sir. You have an obligation not just to speak lies to the American people. You have an obligation to call the leadership of both parties and bring us together and solve this problem together, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Okay, Chrissy, Karen, whatever. Pocahontas Warren is selling Americans a bill of goods like all of America's socialist politicians do to get elected and keep power. Free stuff, more free stuff, more affordable stuff, thanks to our taxpayer money.
So here's the lesson from the elections last night. People are shouting from the rooftops that what matters is the economy. It's about affordability. Voters want Democrats to fight for lower costs and to make their lives better. First off, can I get a woohoo for Zohran Mamdani, the next mayor of New York City? Now look, the pundits may want to dismiss this win as New York being New York, but here's the reality. The bold, progressive candidate who campaigned on a real affordability agenda won. So don't tell me that Democrats have to suck up to billionaires in order to win elections.
You know, woo-hoo from Mamdani. You know, give it away. Just give it away, Democrats. Just give everything away. Why don't you make everything free? Free housing, free food, free health care, free everything. Do it. The problem, Margaret Thatcher, the problem with socialism is you eventually run out of other people's money. And that's exactly, they're already bankrupt. That city's already bankrupt. What are they doing? There will be no makers, tons more takers. The city's going to be a worse hellhole than it already is. Get this, a New York City Muslim influencer saying the quiet part out loud, proving that what we've been saying here for months and all day today is true. There are higher, bigger plans and aspirations and intentions in putting people like Zohran Mamdani in positions of power, a lot more of them.
All right, y'all, the Islamic Caliphate in New York starts now. That means we are all converting to Islam. I've already got one friend converted tonight. So the lines to begin conversion will begin tomorrow morning, bright and early, 8 a.m. There will be mosques being built on every single block. But in the meantime, start outside my door. I am happy to help you convert, happy to be there on your journey. If you'd rather do it with somebody else, totally understand. You have to be safe, you have to be comfortable. But I'm so glad to have you, my brothers, my sisters, my siblings, on this journey.
Allow me, she said caliphate. You heard the first word of our mouth was caliphate. And here's the definition of caliphate. It refers to Islamic state, not Muslim, Islamic state or government where political and religious leaderships are combined. You think they're not going to do it? Dershowitz is wrong. They're going to do it. They're going to do it.